In this lesson, we're going to talk about something really cool, and that is float, not padding bottom. Why did I padding bottom there? Anyway, yes, so we're talking about the property float. Our float can go to the right, or it can also go to the left. So let's see that in action. Right now here, I have a paragraph. Okay, so in this paragraph, I can add an image. So I'm just gonna add one image. I'm gonna call this image .2.jpg. By the way, my image is inside a folder, so I need to make sure I call the right path. Anyway, so I also going to add a class because I'm gonna be doing some stuff with this class. The first thing that I'm going to do is my class, let me give it a name to my class, my img. Okay, so now I'm here and I'm going to add some style. Let me just make sure that the image is coming up. There you go. So I have this image and I have this text right now. So two things I want to do. First, I'm going to just to work with the image better. Let me just change the size of the image. So how do I do that? Using the width, and I'm going to put it down to 400 pixels. Right, let's see. I click save. Just go back. Not working or what? Let me see the size of my image and why it's not coming down, because I can't believe that's 400. Is that 400? It's big though. Yeah, I guess that's 400. I thought it was, oh, you know what? Yeah, my bad. That's why it was big. I totally forgot about that. Anyway, so I'm going to make my image down to 200. That's okay. So the thing is that for the float, so I want the image to float somewhere. It could be to the right. It could be, it could be to the right. It could be to the left. All right. So let's go ahead and add some style to my img class. The first thing that I want to do is type the property float, and just to show you, I'm gonna say right. Okay, I'm gonna click save, and there you go. So as you can see, right now I just float the image to the right, and do you see the text that is literally on the left side? And that's how float work basically. I'm gonna go back and make this to the left. Okay. There you go. So now we have the image float to the left, and we have the text just next to the image. Because the image have a white background, literally you can see this is where the image ends. Okay. I think using this image was a really bad example. So let me just go ahead, and because I want to show you some other stuff, let me use this name. Let me go and get my code. And I'm just going to add the image. And let me just bring up my index.html. Yeah, just remember that the image is not inside this folder. So they are in the same place. That's why it didn't come up. And of course, the image is still big. I'm just going to make it down to 200. There you go. All right. So as you can see, we have float to the left. So everything is moving literally to the right. You do have this space here. Do you see that everything is like literally together, like they next to each other? We can fix that really quick just by adding some margin, literally margin right. Okay, and oh, I put it right on the outside. Just adding some margin to the right and just adding some pixel, and there you go. So now we just fix this and we just put it on the right side. Okay, so this is one way to have image on one side and text on the other side. But let me do something really quick. What about if I want to have another paragraph? Okay, I have another paragraph here, and I want to add some text to this paragraph, and I just add it here. Do you see this? Do you see like they are literally on the same place? Because this paragraph ends here and then the other one start here, but you probably don't want the other paragraph to start here, just because whatever you are saying in this paragraph, it doesn't have to do anything with this picture. So what we're going to do is we're going to use what we call the clear property. And you can do it in two ways. You can just come here and just put it in inline CSS and just type the word clear and then use the value both. So in this way, when we click on next, this one going to come down here just because it will not allow to float it in there. See that? So that's one thing to keep in mind. Just because you don't want everything to stay on the same place, you will hear, you will literally are saying, I just want this paragraph to be part of this image because this paragraph describes this image here, but I don't want this one to be here because it's not, you know, this paragraph doesn't continue here. It just ends right here. Okay, and this one is a whole different paragraph. So that's one thing. The other thing that I want to, I would like to go over is a few things. Let me see, which is the div and the container. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over it really quick. What about if I have one div here, okay, and then I'm going to close this div here, and here I'm going to call this one my content. Not my content, but just content. So if I have content here, I would like to, wait a minute, I just delete the other one. Okay, there you go. And I would like to just call this content. Let me just give it some style. Okay, so this is my class, and the first thing that I'm gonna do is just give it a background, like a little gray, something like gray, something like that. There you go. See that? So right now, this counter, as you can see, this is white, this is gray, because everything is inside this content. Okay, so everything, I just declare that everything's gonna be inside this div here. All right. So I want to try really quick, because if I take too much time on this one, I think I'm gonna take like about probably an hour or two. So I'm just gonna go really quick on this, and I'm just gonna try to recreate this page really quick. Okay, so the first thing that I'm gonna do is I have an image here, I have a title here. Okay, let me just make it a little bit big. Right now I'm just analyzing the image, okay? Because before you creating a website and then you have, you know, you have everything ready to start adding the coding part, the first thing that you do is analyze each thing. So right now, I have an image here on top. I have a title. These two things, I will say they together. And these two things, I will say they are together as well. Of course, this is a whole session here. And by the way, this is a whole session. You can also say that this is a whole session as well. It doesn't matter, but you can either say this is all one, or you can also say that this is one thing together. All right. And so you have this. Okay. And so you have this. So the thing is that when you're creating a website, don't go crazy thinking like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do this? The first thing that you have to think about is the structure of the website. Okay, so here I have a whole row. Okay, do you see this? This is the whole row. This is another row. Sorry about that. This is another row, and of course, this is another row here. Okay, I'm just thinking. I mean, nobody told me to name these as a row. I'm just thinking in my head the structure of the website. And this is a row, and so on. Okay, so again, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the structure first. Let me just go ahead and I'm going to keep this. I'm going to comment it out for now. All right, because I probably need that later. There you go. Now it's empty. So here I have my, and I don't want you guys to get confused. So I'm just gonna put this thing down way down here, so you don't see that. So right now I have my content, and then here I want to call just this thing row. Okay, and because it's only one page, and I mean one column website, and when I say one column website, I don't mean like there's nothing here. I mean there's not like one like this and another thing like this yet. Okay, so for now I'm just gonna look at the whole thing as a one column website. But here we do have two columns. Okay, and here we do have as well two columns if you want to treat this as two columns. And again, there's so many ways to do this website, so I'm just going ahead and like do probably the easy way in creating this one. Not a perfect way, but the easy way. All right, so let me just go ahead, and since here I have my content, and you know what? Instead of content, I'm just going to call it container. Yeah, I'm just going to call this container. Okay, I didn't do anything. I just changed the name of my class. And here I can say and call this thing as a header or just top image. Just going to call this top img. And what I'm going to add here, well, I'm going to add an image. Okay, img, I'm sorry. And I have a folder here, and this is the image, header image.png. Okay, so I have this so far. So if I go back to my website, I refresh my website. Oh well, I'm not calling the folder. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna go ahead and refresh. There you go. We have the whole image right here. Okay. Then after that, I have a header that say who let the dog out. Okay. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that header right here. Yeah, under this. And again, you could add it here, doesn't matter, but you can also, well, not there, I'm sorry. You can add it down here, or you can keep this outside and put it down there. But, and again, I just want to keep this inside and everything inside my container. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and say, well, what I'm just going to say, just hello world. All right. Because I'm not going to go ahead and type the whole thing anyway. So, oh, you know what? Let me just put who left it those out. So you guys can at least relate this part. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. And of course, it's not going to be in the center because I haven't said anything about the center. So one thing that I want to do for now is I'm going to remove this background color. All right. So a few things you can do here. You can put this thing in the center, but you can do it in many ways. For example, you can just type center, the center tag, and I'm going to refresh the page and it's on the center. Or you can do what we call style test align center. And there you go. And we'll be in the center anyway. All right, so far so good. So we have, for now we have this, and of course I'm not giving any color, I'm not, putting any space for now. So I'm just making my, creating my structure so far. So the second thing that I see here is that I have one image, and with that image, I have some text around here. So we just learned about float. We can do that, doesn't matter. And I can definitely try it. So like for example here, let me just make this a little bit bigger. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up. Okay. And just add this thing here. Before I do that, I want to do one thing. I want to create a div, right? Because whatever I put here, like this and this, I want them to be in the same place. And so I will create another div for this to be in the same place, like a wrap it up together. Okay. And then finally, I'm going to do another one for this part here. All right. So we have this one. I'm going to call it first. This one I'm going to call this benefits. And the last one we call this one dog supplies. All right, so this is the structure on my website so far. I have my image on the header. I have this title, which is not part of anything, but only my container. And I have my first row, my second row, and my third row. Yeah, you can call this row. It's the same thing. Okay, but I just want to make sure that you guys understand that it doesn't matter like how you do it, as long as you organize your div or every tag, you should be fine. Okay, so let me just go back to the first one. And I'm going to add it here, my first row. And of course, we don't need the first paragraph yet. And let me see what's the name of that image. doc1.jpg img doc1.j. There you go. Gonna go ahead. You got this, right? But on this one, the difference is that we have like a, like a subtitle, little title here. So I can do two things. But again, I'm doing just the easy way right now. And the easy way is, what happened? The easy way is I can just have this H1 here if I want to. It's not H1, but like H3. Okay. And this H3, you can do many things. For example, you can say, I'm just going to type American for now. Okay. That's one way to do it. See that? But that's one way to do it, but it's not like the correct way. Okay. And why? Because you don't want to depend your H3. You don't want to like put an H3 inside of pig tag. Yeah, you can do that. It's legal, but then you're gonna have like this problem here that this bar, it might like float down. You probably don't want that. And yes, you can do something to move this here, and it's okay. But again, it's gonna get more complicated, but I don't think you need to get to that point yet. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna delete this again. Okay, gonna go back. Hold on. There you go. I'm gonna put it right here. I'm going to comment it out for now. And then this image also, not this one, sorry, that's my head image. So now I'm here, and we can have two things. Here, I can say, well, I'm gonna create another class. Okay, inside this, I'm gonna create another class. This class, I can call it like row. Yeah, you can call it row. Okay, inside this row, I'm going to have another two things, which is columns. Okay, and I'm gonna call this should I column 3, 5, 6? Yeah, column 6, because I'm gonna do half and half. Okay, and then I'm just gonna close this, and then I'm just gonna go ahead, copy, and then just paste. Okay, so far we have this thing, and we have a row, we have a column, and we have another column, which means that I have a row, which is everything on top. I mean, not on top, everything together, just like this. Okay, and then I have one column, which is this, and then I have the other column, which is gonna be this. See that? So here I'm going to add this image. Okay, for this one, I'm gonna add this image, and for the other one, I'm going to add the paragraph. And not only the paragraph, but also the H3. Okay, just gonna add this, remove my comment, remove the image. Okay, gonna go ahead, move this a little bit to the left. sorry, to the right, and then just this a little bit to the right. Okay, so of course, if I click save and let me just, I'm going to remove, not remove, but I'm gonna remove the float for now. I'm gonna remove the properties from the CSS, from the class. Okay, so of course, if I click here, nothing's happening because I have not said anything how my div should be treated. Like I haven't said, the only thing that I did right now was just this, add an image, and this, add a paragraph. Okay, so I haven't done anything yet. So let me just go back, and here I will declare my row class, and also here I'm going to add my column 6 class. So the first thing that you can do is, the first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and just make my container with 960 pixel, but just because I'm not, this is not a rule, this is nothing, just because I want everything to be within 960 pixel. Okay, so this is not supposed to do anything in the website yet. Okay, and the second thing that I want to do is, remember that I told you this is the whole row here. Okay, and also this column 6 is like 50%, and this other column 6 is like 50%. And we did that literally in past lessons, but let me explain that one more time. So here I'm adding my 50%, which is going to be added to each column 6 and the side of each column. And when I say the side, it means like everything between this div, within this div right here, is going to be within 50% of something. Okay, and when I say of something, 50% or 100%, but everything going to be inside, just taking that space as a 50% and no more than that. All right, and you want to see that one, later. But if I click save, you will not see any different right now, because everything is still under each. You haven't say it, like you haven't say, hey, come next to the other one. So for this, we're gonna use float left. Okay, and now we're gonna just refresh the page, and there you go. So now I have this, and again, you can still give it some style later on. Like for example, you can just move your image to the center, or you can move it to the right side. Let me move it to the right side. So my image, which is this image right here, I'm gonna say float right. Okay, and there you go. So I mean, it's not perfect yet, but you get the idea. Okay, you can play around with it. The thing is that now, since you have everything inside your columns and row, you should feel more comfortable about it. You should feel more like, okay, I'm in control now. Like whatever happened inside these columns, whatever happened inside this column 6 is going to be up to you. Okay, the space and everything else. So the good thing is that since you already have this, all right, you can just, the only thing that you can do is just like copy and paste the same thing. For example, you can just come here and copy and paste this the whole row. Okay, let me just make sure that this row belongs. Okay, yeah, it does. And here. Okay, and I'm just going to switch and make this image here. Just be careful with the copy and paste thing though, because You will see now why. Because I copy and paste, right? And then I click refresh. Two things happen. You see this here, and you see this here. But why? Because I'm using the same class for the same image. Like I'm using the same float right. So I'm moving this image to the right. This one is fine for now, but again, we're gonna fix that. But the image is away because it's moving to the right. So let me do a few things here. The first thing is change the image name, and the second thing is change this class. Just gonna add a D, my imgd, or probably a 2. Yeah, my img2. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and copy the class. Come here and say 2, and just say left. So now this image will move right here. And of course, different image. So do you see that? Do you see it's like, and again, it's not perfect yet, but I'm just adding things there like crazy. And of course, you can do the same thing with this, but this one is much easy. All right, because, and again, because since I'm already here, I'm already know where I'm gonna start and when I'm gonna end. You see that? Because I already created the structure of my website. So here you can do two things. You can either just type the H, let me do a H2 benefits, and just here add a a list, and just gonna go ahead copy and paste this 5 times, 4 and 5. Just gonna click save. There you go. Yep, everything is messed up. Why is everything messed up? Let me see. Because everything's still inside. Let me see. This is the first. This is my benefit. Since this is a tab, but everything is going over this. Oh, there you go. So we need, remember what we did the first time with the when I told you about the paragraph. If you don't want it to be part of it, what do? Yes, for row, we're gonna include exactly the same thing we did here. We want to do clear both, and we're also gonna say display table. Let's see if that worked. There you go. So, and again, the float, I say that when we start the when I start the session, that every time you do the float and you be like, all right, something is floating to the left side, and if you don't want something to be part of it, you need at the end, you need to, like, not at the end, but whatever is like on the end, yeah, basically at the end, you say like clear both, like, okay, whatever is coming after this is not part of it, just make sure that you give me my space. Okay, so, and by the way, that was in chapter 11 though. Okay, so here I have the benefit, and you can do the same thing that I did here. Okay, can do exactly the same thing to put the title in the center, but of course you can also do the what I'm gonna call doodle class. You can just create like a center class, and for every H2, H1, or whatever you want, you can just do that on the CSS, so you don't have to like copy and paste this code every time. So the last one, I'm gonna do it so we can save some time. You guys can try it, which is literally whatever we did here, literally the same thing we did here and the same thing we did here. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I give you like a little more style to this thing. So everything is literally away, a little space here. So you can do two things. In one of the lessons, we talk about margin. So you can either come here, and because you have this big container and everything is inside the that container, you can come here and say, you know, give me a margin right. I always do that. So margin right, not 30, but like 100 pixel. Not 100, sorry, like about 50 pixel. And do the same thing with margin left. Okay. And of course, everything should go away. There you go. See that? It's not perfect yet, but it's not, yeah, it's definitely not perfect yet, but that's something better than before. Another thing that you can do is you can just come here and just type margin, the auto, and your website will be literally in the center, because this here on the browser, the margin auto is saying, hey browser, just, you know, just adjust, depends on the browser side. So as you can see, it's giving like a little more nice space, but you could do the same thing just typing margin left, I don't know, probably about 75, margin right probably 75, and you will definitely recreate this thing here. Let me see what else. And yeah, everything else, I believe that you should be comfortable doing it, since like something like underline, change the color, and, you know, make it this thing look a little bit more attractive, I guess, a little bit nicer than this. But yeah, and of course, this, you can just have some space here. Get used to using margins, because the break is not, it's not like too fun to be using that all the time. Like, this is not cool if I come here and I start adding some BR and then BR and then BR. And I explained that on the last lesson. Why would you not want to do something like this? Okay, it's better if you just come here and say, let me just, to my top image, you know, let me just add some, let's see, some margin bottom, something like that. By the way, let me just, well, it's not gonna work anyway. Hold on, let me just refresh so everything's go back. And then here, margin bottom, I can just say 40 pixel, something like that. And there you go. It's giving you more space. You can say a little bit more, probably 80. There you go. So the reason I would like you guys to get used to this better, because if you want to do some modification when you create the mobile version of this website, it's going to be much easier to handle the space on this, because since you're using margin, you can say margin 80 on laptop, but become margin probably 30, 40 on cell phones. And yes, that's pretty much it. I hope it didn't took more than an hour, but you can handle it from here. And again, every time you look at a website, just make sure you guys create the structure of the website first. Don't feel like, oh my god, I don't know where to put this, I don't know where, like, the location of things, because the location of things like the easy part to do it, and everything inside is easy. Just make sure that you feel like, okay, I got everything under control. I know this section, I got this section, and I have this section. I just have to put everything inside, and so on. Okay, so I will see you in the next lesson.